is Zareei, and I'm a PhD student at Victoria University of Wellington. I'm really interested in noise and basically sonic byproducts of everyday life. So as part of my PhD, I'm basically working on these sound sculptures, building an ensemble of these things that use little noisy machines inside our everyday devices to basically make sound. But like in their everyday context, these things are basically, their sonic aspect is kind of a byproduct. It's not needed, so it's unwanted or not interesting. So I'm trying to make them interesting by basically highlighting them in these sort of sculpture formats and controlling their noise rhythmically and timbrally. And this is one of the series of instruments that I've been working on. It's called Mutor, and it's basically the primary sonic output of it is based on the sound of a DC motor, just a regular 12-volt DC motor, and I control it using a microcontroller programming, and it's located in a box. So I've also control over the basically there's like a pivoting door that I can basically control using that linear actuator, so I can modulate the sound of the motor inside the box, creating some sort of a kind of a wah-wah effect. I always really liked glitch music. So basically glitch music is a genre of electronic music where musicians, sound artists, they focus on noisy or like digital errors that happen within the digital realm. They basically use these unwanted sounds and basically regulate them somehow and organize them and make music with them. So I was always really interested in that. And then when I was studying at Cal Arts before I moved to New Zealand, I met Trumpen, who's probably one of the most significant forerunners of kinetic sound sculpture. And I kind of got to know his work and his kind of loudspeaker-free, like physical sound art, where you basically make sound using sound objects. So that was pretty inspiring. And then, so I tried to kind of fix my focus on basically his method of, basically I tried to fuse these two inspirations, so that glitch music and this physical way of making sound art. So this is pretty much, so the sonic byproduct of the physical technologies around us, you know what I mean, instead of digital in the glitch music. So my work basically focuses on these little unimportant noises of technological devices surrounding our everyday life. So basically, so when I was looking into noise, I looked at Luigi Russolo's work. He was basically this Italian guy who came up with this futurist manifesto that in like early 1900s, he was like, oh, let's celebrate the post-industrial revolution noise. So he built a series of these noise-making machines. Well, in my first instrument, I was kind of inspired by his noise machines. It was like a remodeling sort of version of his noise intoners. But then in that, so it was basically, there was a mechanism there. But then in that quite basic noise-making mechanism, there were like still sounds that were actually not directly related to that sonic output that I wanted. So they were also like within the noise context, there were still noise stuff happening, or like byproducts. So in my second instrument, I was using basically two of these solenoids to just amplify that actuation noise of these solenoids using a metal sheet. So they were attached to a metal sheet, and so the actuation noise was kind of transduced using that sheet of metal. And the third one is basically, it's kind of like going one level lower. It's basically just the sound of a DC motor itself. with basically minimum modification. It's just sitting in this box. Basically, I'm trying to like focus and kind of highlight its presence as physical, because in the everyday context, these things are just hidden inside box. They're not important. Their sound is not important. It's not wanted. But here, I'm trying to like basically stress on their very physical presence. So the only thing that's been modified is just the tone of the motor buzzing, and then it's just the timbre using that pivoting door. So it kind of like goes sort of into a more reductionist format within the whole series, from the first one to this last one.